the difficult part.
And you've got to be very, very careful to make the right decisions at the right time. It's all about timing with that particular vehicle as well, although it's like that for every single one of the riders out there. Let's not make it as if one has it harder than the other.
I'm not quite sure which of the Americans this is, but it's definitely the first of them, the 40 car. Oh no, that's Steve Kimpton. It's not the American drivers just yet, but we have got 4 V8 Masters entered this weekend. Steve Kimpton is one of them. Kai Goddard, of course the son of our chief man downstairs here, Jeff Goddard, and his good friend Dave Smith from the US of A have come out here to run their very first time in a V8 Master. There you go, there's Kai.
There is Goddard, yeah.
And the 2 Americans, he's from Phoenix, Arizona. His good friend Dave Smith is from California, Southern California. And the 2 of them here for the very first time. Had a chat to them in the studio just before you got here. They are blown away by the support at this event and how many people are out here, and the fact that you can do a run almost every hour, as opposed to when you go to Pikes Peak and you got to wait nearly 3 hours before you just get your one run in. So that's why they're here.
That's one of the beautiful things about this too, is that you've got so many runs as our next competitor is off the line and flying along, and you've got this the road through Samola, the golf estate, back down so quickly as well, and it is so well controlled and it runs like clockwork, unless of course Mark Grenier takes out one of our policemen.
That man there is Dave Smith. He's in the 3rd of those V8 Masters. Those are purpose-built APVs built down in Cape Town. And they all run 357 blocks in this. They're all exactly the same chassis, exactly the same wheels and tires. The only difference that you're allowed on the car is the livery. So you can have a yellow stripe or a blue stripe or a pink stripe and any other color to complement it, but you're not allowed to change anything else on those cars. Right behind him, though, is an ex-V8 supercar champion in Franco Di Matteo. So V8 Masters followed by a V8 supercar could be a bit of a concern there. And I think what Dave Smith is going to have to do is call on all his NASCAR experience, because he's an ex-NASCAR driver, to try and stay ahead of the V8s behind him.
That's Wade van Zummeren.
I'm here with Kai Goddard. Kai, you've come out from Arizona and America.
Yeah.
It's a little bit drier than it is here.
It's significantly drier. We see weather like this probably 3 times a year, you know, so.
But you've been at Pikes Peak and had a look up there, and this has got to be like the kind of weather you get at the top of Pikes Hill.
Yeah, you know what's neat is this morning, this short run alone had 2 climates, I thought, because it was dry for me here, but completely wet through the finish line with the wipers going. And but Pikes Peak has, you know, it's a 10-minute run, 14,110 feet. So I have driven it once. I haven't raced it, but it's, you know, they both have their own unique personalities.
And you're driving one of these V8 Masters cars. It's got a reasonable amount of power. You got wet weather tires on them, or are you going on slicks?
No, we've been running complete wets. Yeah, it's a handful. One of these guys was just joking that, you know, they're like drift cars up the hill, you know. So it requires a lot of discipline to be quick and to keep them straight and manageable.
But it's a lot more fun going sideways, isn't it?
It is. We know that drifting or being sideways is like the party drug of driving. It's not the quickest, but it's fun. But yeah.
But you know, today in this kind of weather, you just got to have fun.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun. I could see there's a few people like myself that are kind of starting to skip runs a little bit, knowing that tomorrow is completely dry and that the afternoon is going to be dry. So I think these guys here, just more opportunity to kind of get their eye in on it, you know.
Particularly for, you've been here before, you know, you've got Dave and Steve who are coming up in the cars now. They didn't drive this track until yesterday.
No, but I told them that it was like that for me the first year here. Just kind of, you know, we have a saying overseas, you just lick the stamp and send it. Just
yeah, that was Danny Rick when he's coming up the inside.
Yeah, yep. So
it's licked and it's got to be sent. We're hearing there's action going. Thanks a lot for talking to us. Enjoy. Stay safe.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Right, guys. Give you some interesting racing as we go along. That's number 42.
Dave Smith, that's Kai's good friend. He's all the way from California, in America, as we heard from Colin. It's America, not America. Not America. It's America. Yeah. If you ever saw that puppet movie that came out with America in it, then you'll understand where that comment comes from. Anyway, it's V8 Masters that are on track at this stage, and 2 of them high flying. One, of course, piloted there by a seasoned campaigner, Steve Kimpton, in that one, and a new man to V8 Masters, Dave Smith, but not a new man to V8 machinery, having had some experience in NASCAR.
So interesting for me to hear that Kai says he's not going. He's going to sit this one out. So he feels that he's now probably seen enough of the hill to know exactly what he wants to do. Here's the extra BMW. Let's have lovely turnout of that vehicle as well. It always looks impressive. That livery is beautiful. But so one or two of the big bangers are right. Here's number 36. Look at that. Quite a few people.
Dial it back so that he can drive the traction control on the feet. So there's two bits of traction control in this car. One is the computer, and the other one is the driver with his right foot. And there are a couple of guys that we also want to have a look down here. We've got Stevie. I want to talk to Dave, who is Kai Goddard. We spoke to him a little bit earlier, but another one of our American guests over here. Dave, we've just had a bit of a delay now, so you were almost ready to get going. Now you've got to dial it back and focus again. How do you handle it?
Well, just take a few big, deep breaths and keep respecting this hill climb. That mountain demands respect, and trying to take it a little bit at a time, not get greedy with too much dramatic
NASCAR, they don't
difference of
run in
what
the
I'm
rain.
doing. Just
NASCAR, they
a
don't
little
run
bit
in the
at a
rain.
time. I know I got quite a few runs left, so I'm gaining on it each time I get familiar with the hill. I gain a little bit more confidence. I'm at the point right now where I'm just starting to lean on the car a little bit, and with this dry run coming up here, which I think it'll be maybe intermediate, maybe dry, hopefully, but car's starting to come to me. So just one step at a time. We'll get there.
I love that part where you say that you're starting to lean on the car and push the limits. It's going to be a little bit tricky on a debatable surface.
It is. We're on rains right now. I kind of wish I was on the dries because it's now with this delay, I kind of want the dry tires on so we can get a little bit more grip and traction. But I think we got what we got, and it's just a practice and qualifying this afternoon. I just want to tell all the fans thanks for the support, and all the people in South Africa for inviting me and welcoming me to this hill climb, and want to thank my sponsors, Fixie Wheels, Sonoma Harvest Olive Oil, Fowler Packing Company, and also Home Advisors. All these guys, without them, it wouldn't be possible. I wouldn't be here overseas trying to represent the USA. So hopefully I can give a good run this afternoon and show what I can really do.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for chatting with us. We'll let you get refocused again.
Thank you, Fani. Well done. Nice to have a man on the spot and to have Marcel to give us the update. Yeah, I thought that car had gone down the hill there a bit. There's very little place there not to go down on the right-hand side of this particular course. So that's where you need to be extra careful. But quite clearly, it almost looked like the accelerator got stuck there, kind of thing. Like there was just no edge on it, no brake or nothing. It's straight through. So I'm glad to hear that the man is good and safe.
Just trying to refresh our timing there. Looks like we've lost the timing ever so slightly. So while we're doing that, you can see Dave Smith and Kai Goddard, our two American friends, coming to play here this weekend. Smith coming from California, and Phoenix, Arizona's Kai Goddard out in front of him. The two Americans now driving in conditions that they're probably not used to driving in, because, as I said, I wanted to try and get Colin to get a comment from Dave Smith saying, with the rainy conditions, a NASCAR driver usually wouldn't be getting out onto any form of racetrack.
Brent Watts has just left the start line here in that big Nissan Skyline GTS of his. Talk about Boxberg and Benoni.
We're allowed to.
Wow.
Listen, I do agree with what he said there in terms of a black wrap. When I used to do a couple of national championship drag races, and on a few occasions at the old West Bank Raceway, when we, the girls behind us are going to come and join us any second now. It's great to see Kai Goddard and Dave Smith coming up to give us a little insight. And I'm glad they've come up here, because when I asked Colin to ask Dave a question, he couldn't hear me. So I'm going to get Dave to come and join us here on there. Maybe we'll just go to the live mics. Just give us a second as we just take the mics off the stands, and then we can just go onto handhelds for 2 seconds. So just give me 2 seconds.
I'll vacate the chair and the boys can come and sit down here.
Cool bananas. So Kai and Dave, one of you jump in here. I'm going to go handheld to Kai, and Dave can jump in there. But the one very cool aspect that I have with man, dude, do you think you're going to be going home with that set of overalls? I don't think you are, because I don't have a set of NASCAR Simpson overalls in my collection at home. So by the end of the weekend, if you can't find them, don't come to my house, okay? Because they're not going to be at my house. Dave, jokes aside, you've had a couple of runs. You're in a situation that you're not normally in NASCAR. NASCAR, it rains, that's it. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll start again, man. That's how it goes. So take us through what it was like to be in that car in the wet conditions.
Well, I could tell you this hill commands a lot of respect, and that's what I'm giving it. So far, that's what I've been giving it, just trying to get a little bit comfortable more and more with the new car. I've never driven this car before, especially driving it on a mountain and not a racetrack. So there's a lot of variables going on right now and a lot going through my head. But each run I'm getting a little bit more and more comfortable. I'm just trying to keep my breathing going and stay calm, keep my heart rate down, and realize there's no really room for error out there. So I think I'm taking the right approach for me. And this last run I just went up the hill and just about to break into the 40s, high 40s, so we're gaining on it. I feel there's a lot left on the table. I just have to start getting comfortable with the amount of grip. We're on rain tires. I haven't been on the dries yet at all, and so the course itself's been intermediate, wet and dry with the rain tires, and just trying to get comfortable with the lean angle of this V8 Masters and how much it'll actually hold the line, especially on the medium cars up in the S in that area there. I tend to be braking a little bit too much, and I'm just thankful for this opportunity, and as long as I keep progressing each run, compared to stock car driving and NASCARs, you basically have a session to run, not just one lap, and it's tough to just put it all together for one lap. So each time we get a chance to do it, and then there's a delay in the event when you're ready to go. Your turn's coming up. That's what happened the last time.
Yeah, I saw that.
It sort of messes with your mind a little bit, but keep your heart rate down, keep digging, and I'm learning from the best in the business. My teammate Kai Goddard, he's right on the on point right now, and he's the one I'm chasing down. So I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, there was a bit of rivalry you were talking about yesterday when we spoke to the two of you, Kai, and I think that rivalry is going to continue into the weekend. The cool thing about it, though, is that you're in almost, I would say, spot-on identical cars. So it's now a case of, as Dave was saying, getting that setup right, leaning on the car a bit, making sure that it pushes you to your limits as well as its limits. What are you doing to do that?
Well, we've already been playing with sway bar settings. Now we're looking at the rear wing, and now we're looking at ride height and lifting the back of the cars up a little bit. So it's turned technical, but it's been very slippery. No run has been anything other than sideways. So, but now that it's drying up, as Dave said, we've just been running the rain tire, and it's dry down here. There's like a whole nother climate at the top.
It's amazing that. Hey?
Yeah, it's wet at the top, dry down here, or wet down here. And the other thing is we notice is starting to be some maybe the rain is pushing some dirt or sand or grit. So
yeah, the grit is starting to come across the track. There's no doubt about that. That fine
like
silt comes across for sure.
Yeah, it's slippery. So I've actually heard Dave say this before. It's a little saying that he has, but it's about as slippery as owl snot is what we say in the U.S.
That's spot on, man.
Yeah, it's pretty slippery.
Yeah. Now, in terms of the track conditions, it's the same for everybody. But when I say that very tongue-in-cheek, because you could be the fourth or fifth car off the line. By the time you get down to 25th to 30th car, the conditions have changed up, and every single free practice session, that's exactly what's happened. So you're looking and going, oh no, we're okay, it's clear. And 30 cars later, you've got rain or you've got an incident, and you've had to sit there and reboot.
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. I mean, look at the clouds. We had one reasonably dry, slippery dry run, and then at the top of the hill, you're flipping on the lights and the wipers to get back down. That's what it's like. So I think the biggest thing is the start. We're kind of playing around with that. I tried one in second gear. We tried one in first, and it obviously it's a bit NHRA if you follow drag racing.
Yeah, no, 100%.
To get them to go, So
look, the other thing is the two of you coming from the stock car stuff you normally do. You're not used to a standing start, so this must be a whole nother ball game for you guys to get off the line, particularly on a slanted slope as well. It's not a flat surface you're starting on. You're usually behind a pace car at that point in the race.
Yep. And to kind of add another layer to that, these cars aren't meant for standing starts.
Exactly. And that's the point I was going to get to, is the APVs that Owen has built are all normally behind a pace car when they start things out. So they're not geared, or they are geared for today, but they're not usually geared for a first gear start.
Right. Yep. So Some of it was we're trying to save the clutches for tomorrow. You know,
That's the way to do it.
They're
Look, we spoke to. I'm gonna wrap now with the two of you. We've got another interview standing by, but just to wrap up, and if you wouldn't mind passing it across to Dave for the last comment. Dave, just chatting about that. One of our top contenders in South Africa, which you guys have probably heard about as well, is a young man called Stuart White, who's just signed for Sauber, and he's part of the progression in the F1 team that they're looking at for development drivers. He was on our feed, and of course you can see the feed now lighting up that the two of you have joined, talking about being here last year in a Formula Renault, which is a very similar car to Formula One, and having to just slowly but surely build through the 5 practice sessions. In the qualifying, there's a bit of a change up in your thinking and in your strategy, and then of course gearing yourself for the final.
Yeah, I mean, for me, to be in an open wheel car here, so much respect, first of all, for all these guys, and having that aero to your advantage is huge. But in these conditions, trying to drive one of those cars up the hill, you can't even get. Well, if you can get to the speed that you can start to increase the aero, good for them. But I don't know. Those guys have certainly more
cojones.
Cojones, I'd say. Especially for me coming up here the first time, I wouldn't want to be in an open wheel car up there. But it's just basically taking your time, being patient. Don't get too greedy, because if you do, you might not end up finishing the weekend. So go up there and just drive your heart out and try to get a little bit each time in each lap. And we're doing okay right now. Just keep the progression going, and
fantastic.
We'll keep digging.
Well,
see
great.
how we go.
Dave, Kai, thanks so much for joining us again.
Back home in
to
America.
Everybody back home in America. Here's your 2 American representatives. We got our representative up at Jaguar, Marcel Angel.
Angel was flying.
44.4. That is a quick lap from Marcel Angel.
You hear what I did there? Angel was flying.
Fine, man. I got you there. I was right there with you. I was right there with you, hey? Halo, boy.
Oh, halo.
Halo, I was there. Halo, I was with you.
That's all holy.
Oh
right,
goodness,
so
it
is getting silly now, completely. But
it is that time of the day, though. We're kind of running out of things to say. No, we only joking.
You and I will never, in a month of Sundays, run out of things to say.
Ever. All right, so it's V8 Masters now being led out, and I think that'll be Steve Kimpton. First car. No, in fact, that's Kai. I think that's Kai Goddard. Yeah, Goddard. First car up the top. There goes Kimpton. He's in the white one with the blue stripes. Just to give you an indication of how these cars run in the normal championship from the APV V8 Masters, you're allowed to have the car. It's exactly the same car as the car behind you and the one in front of you if you're racing, because they're all built at Owen Ashley's stable down in Cape Town. They run a 3.57 litre V8, the 357 V8 block in them. And with that, the only changes you can do to the car is the way the car is coloured. So you can have any colour stripe and any sort of complementary colour either side of those stripes, but that's the only differentiating factor in these cars. They're the same tyres, same wheels, same setup, everything is exactly the same.
David Smith is in car number 42, and that's a beautiful look as well. That makes me think of some of the Mustangs that had the cylinders sticking out the bonnet in the early and late 70s. It's that same kind of look. Smith in the Masters Ford 347 IS from 2005.
And that, of course, is the man from California. So David Smith, a NASCAR trainer, teaches guys how to do oval track racing. We chatted to him earlier on in the studio up top here, and he was saying that he was battling a little bit in the wet conditions, because in the wet conditions in the States, they wouldn't run. NASCAR basically calls it off, and they actually have a built-in rain day in case anything happens. But usually in those southern states, nothing really to be concerned about. Good run from him. 47-2 Facebook page, and the amount of people that we're interacting with just shows you that what we decided to do in 2013 and moved up now 6 years later is definitely paying off and paying dividend.
It really is, and take my hat off to all of you that tune in and watch us. And I have a challenge to all of those that are watching us that are sitting actually on circuit. I want you guys to take a video of where you're sitting, of what we see, or what you see, and put it into the comment section below. Let's see what sort of videos and what sort of interaction we get on that. Something different we haven't tried before, but that'll be cool. And to the guys down here at Knifeset for hosting this and allowing us to come and play with our toys down here, it's been awesome.
Certainly has, and I think that's also a great thing. And maybe what you need to do is just shoot next door and give Rog and Graham a bit of a heads up there, and tell all the people that are sitting out there, because the last time we did that, you'll watch out the window how quickly people run to their smart devices to link up with the live streaming option that we've got here. I don't think all of them know that we're actually live streaming unless they're in the VIP areas or have a screen in front of them they can see. However, if you have a smart device at your convenience, get onto it and come and join us, and we'll be able to take you through some of the action that you can't see from the vantage point you might be at right now.
That is correct. So, but I'll go next door and speak to the guys, and let's see if we can get as many pictures into the feed as well as what we do.
And the cool thing with that is there's some of our cameras that might not pick up on that.
Yep.
There may be guys in areas that we miss out on, and they can bring us that information which we can use for commentary.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. And like you said, we wanted to turn the fans into our showpiece.
That's exactly what we're doing. The fans become part of the show, and being interactive like we have been all weekend long, and with this concept, is the way to go. We've got APVs out on track at the moment with the V8 Masters pushing hard, and looks like Davey Smith and Kai Goddard want to literally be at Kai Goddard 46.5. What has Dave Smith done? A 46.054. That is an incredible time there from Goddard and from Smith to NASCAR limits.
Real limits, yeah. That's a very interesting thing, and I think maybe over time, as you learn to control your vehicle, your emotions, and everything else that goes with it.
I think the other factor that comes in is, and I say this with a bit of a joke in mind as well, it also depends on your current status in terms of where you are as a person in life. Have you got a family? Have you got a girlfriend? Have you got a wife?
So true.
Is your mom and dad still here? All of those factors come into play. You know, when I think about the first time I climbed into a race car and there were no responsibilities of children in the back of my head, there was a completely different animal when I got into behind a racing car and a race wheel, behind a motorbike, behind a BMX, behind a mountain bike. As soon as those factors come into play, I can say one of the guys I've seen it with who still has the racer's edge, there's no doubt about it, is Kinsella. 5-time back-to-back SA South African champion. Over the last 2 seasons, a young, beautiful baby. He's got married to an absolutely amazing young lady called Sheridan. The edge maybe just slightly less than what he had before.
It shifts.
Because you're thinking about it the whole time, you know?
Yeah.
And I think you have to have that in the back of your mind as well. It also gives you that that little extra that some guys that don't have that to play with, you know. So there's 2 sides to that coin.
Positive and a negative.
There's the fear factor, but there's also the positive side that comes from, well, let me show my family what I can do, and this is me.
And balancing there may be, for those who want longevity in the sport, that is the real factor, is to be able to balance those two. Let it all hang out, but be aware how much have I got to lose at the same time. I spoke to Gary Formato about it a while ago, and Gary was saying exactly the same. Now that he's got family, etc., etc., he feels like the edge is just gone. It's as thin as a piece of veneer. It's
nothing.
thin.
Yeah, there's nothing to it.
But it's there.
And that alone gives you